Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 15th of May, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar, climbing a little bit this morning. So we're seeing the dollar, this is recovery. The key thing will be, is this trend short-lived? So we've had a nice big move here in the dollar on the medium term, short-term sell-off. Are we now going to see a reversal through the cloud and another kick up? This would be classic sort of skewed behavior where you see the counter trend moves are smaller and shorter. So keep an eye out for that dollar rising above. We've got upside targets here, 3 upside targets, 1 downside target on the short-term chart. So looks like dollar might come back. And on the euro, we're seeing the euro testing cloud support at the moment. So of course, inverted situation where we've had a recovery. Is this recovery short-lived, and then we fall back into negative territory? But for the moment, the euro is bullish still. And against the Japanese yen, we're seeing the dollar having tested the cloud now coming through quite clearly. So on the medium-term chart on the yen, we're looking bullish, and we're already above on the short-term chart. So the dollar is looking bullish against the yen already. Against sterling, sterling is fairly flat the last week. So it hasn't really made any gains against the dollar, and in that sell-off, sterling was really not a beneficiary. So inherent pound weakness showing through there. Against the euro, we're seeing sterling still bearish below the cloud. Against the Swiss franc, also bearish below the cloud. And against the Aussie dollar, we're just back at that 180 level, but still bearish short term. Bitcoin up just over 0.5% this morning. Short-term chart now starting to look a bit better, so we're bullish above the cloud here. Is this the medium-term transition taking place? This is what we have to watch. We've been below the cloud for several months on the medium-term daily chart, but now we're starting to come back above. S&P 500 index overnight was up about 0.25%, so just continuing its move above the cloud here. And the Nasdaq also was up overnight by just over 1/3%, and so generally US markets just continuing that recovery phase. The Dow not yet through the medium-term cloud, although it was up just under 0.5% last night, and the Russell 2000 index is nudging new all-time highs, so the broad-based index looking better. The S&P futures down about 1/3% this morning, and the Nasdaq E-mini down about 1/3% as well. So it does look like the US markets might open slightly lower, but nothing major to worry about at the moment. FTSE 100 looking stronger again, and the FTSE 250 continuing its run as well. Fairly steady trend up here, so this recovery looking more and more likely. The DAX also just holding on to its gains, a bit flat the last couple of days, but still bullish above the cloud. And the French CAC 40 was down 0.25% this morning, so just struggling to just nudge that new all-time high territory, but it's looking the strongest still of the 4 European major indices. The Japanese market was down very slightly overnight. The Hang Seng index also just pausing for breath after a very strong few days, getting back above the cloud on the medium-term chart. The Chinese market up 0.4%, looking better on that short-term chart, still worrying on that medium-term, a long way to go before we've got a recovery in place there. And the index for India, the Sensex, looking pretty strong as well. And the Australian market was down nearly 2/3%. So just struggling a bit there. Brent crude holding on to its gains. It's sitting at $78 now. $80 looking quite conceivable. We've got good upside targets. We've got an upside target on the short-term chart to $83. That's 6% higher. And if we look at WTI, again, we've got good, strong upside targets here as well into the mid-high 70s. US nat gas sitting at $2.83. If we go straight to gold, gold's actually just selling back off, having looked better yesterday, just really struggling again short term. So we are seeing downside potential there on the short term chart. A stronger dollar not helping. And silver much the same. US 10-year yield sitting at 3.02%, so that 3% level breached again. 305 is the next level on the long-term chart, and we on the short-term chart here we can see we've got 304, 305. So we're seeing that 10-year yield creeping up. That of course is bad for bonds generally, and we're seeing the German bond falling away quite heavily, bearish on all three time frames. Bonds not looking like a good place to be at the moment. Apple stock, of course, been making new highs, up 2/3%, looking strong still. Amazon also looking strong as well, holding on to its gains. Not really, just flat for the last few days. And Google, which has been the laggard of the tech giants, is just starting to come above the cloud on the short-term chart, but really lagging behind, certainly not making new highs. And Facebook still sitting in the high 180s, so looking strong, not managing to make a new all-time high, but has shrugged off all the bad news now and is looking bullish on all three time frames. And Microsoft, one of the more steady tech majors, continuing to look pretty strong, having made new all-time highs as well. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.